What up, everybody? Today I'm going to be continuing my Power Move series by talking about Diana Tejada and how she utilizes Power Law 12, use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. I will put a link to the Power Move series in the description if you want to check it out. Diana has created quite the reputation from her 3 seasons on Ghost. Some call her Dirty Diana. Others say she's a deceiver or a manipulator. But this is power and can't nobody be trusted at the end of the day, because much like in real life, everyone is really only acting on their own self-interest and preservation. And Diana, being raised by Monet Tejada herself, we got to know that she's a savage deep down, and we just haven't seen it all that much yet. Also, keep in mind who her brothers are, Kane and Drew, and there's a good chance that she's smarter than both of them, either though I see them all on a similar level. Getting me into how Diana Tejada uses selective honesty to disarm her marks. The 48 Laws of Power says that open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity brings down the guard of the most suspicious people. Observance of the law number 1. Diana and Drew steal Tariq's drugs from the lockers. Tariq and the crew had just robbed Mecca out of his shipment, so he didn't have the re-up for Lorenzo. When Lorenzo found out what happened, he sent Drew and Diana to Stansfield to get his drugs back. Drew would need to steal Everett's ID to get access to the building, and Diana would have to do the hard part, get the locker's QR code from Tariq's phone. This is when Diana used some recent events to her advantage. She recently exposed Zeke being Monet's son to her whole family at the dinner table, and everyone was upset about the whole situation. So Diana showed up at Tariq's dorm room door with tears practically already in her eyes, saying she needed to talk to him. When he told her he had something to do, she insisted and asked if he could be late. This is when Diana worked her magic and the whole damsel in distress routine to the T. Most men build up defenses, especially in the game. Diana, being a con artist, it was her job to bring those defenses down. She said, "Tariq, you're the only one who's not mad at me right now." Then said, "My mom's cheated on my dad with a guy named Dante." But this didn't really move Tariq. He replied, "My dad cheated on my mom too. It's not the end of the world." That's when she hit Tariq with the bombshell. "You don't get it. Dante is Zeke's dad. Monet's Zeke's mom, not his auntie." At this point, Tariq was shocked. He took the bait, and right here she had him. Diana continued, "She had him at 16, and she's been lying to everyone this whole time." But Tariq still hadn't let his guard down all the way and asked Diana, "How is that your fault? That's not your fault." Then Diana hit Tariq with the truth again, exposing herself, and said, "It's my fault. I put her business on blast the other night at dinner." "Tariq, what is wrong with me? Now everyone's mad at me, either though she's the one who's been lying this whole time. Even Drew thinks I should have kept my mouth shut." Then she asked Tariq for water. Tariq didn't have any in his dorm room and said he would need to go to the vending machine down the hall to get the drink, and walked out, leaving his phone behind. I mean, who would distrust a person caught in the act of being honest and revealing a secret? A quote concerning this law from the 48 Laws of Power. "The essence to deception is distraction. Distracting the person you want to deceive will give you the time and space to do something that they won't notice. An act of honesty or generosity is often the most powerful form of distraction because it disarms the other person's suspicions." And we know that Diana went on to get the code from Tariq's phone and to steal the drugs from the lockers. Getting me to example number 2. Diana sets up Detective Whitman to break into her parents' house. From the time Zeke got killed, Monet was holding a grudge against Diana. I guess still from doing what she did at the dinner table. But Detective Whitman was heavy on Monet's tracks, ready to bring her down for something, extremely passionate after the death of Carrie Milgram. Monet sent Diana to talk to Whitman to set him up. But this was not going to be easy because Detective Whitman was already very suspicious of Diana from the jump. The 48 Laws of Power says when someone is already suspicious like that, to play rogue to feed into their beliefs. In this case, he had been watching Monet. He already knew that Diana was the outcast of the family and they didn't really want anything to do with her. So all Diana had to do was play all the more into Whitman's own beliefs. Like I said, Whitman was very suspicious from the jump and said, "What are you doing here? What is this about, Diana?" Keep in mind that she had to convince this man who didn't trust her that she was willing to set up her own mom. So Diana started off heavy and said, "I shouldn't even be doing this, but I need to know the truth. I need to know who killed Zeke." This got a little smile from Whitman and he said, "I think your mom killed Carrie, then she killed Zeke to cover it up." They talked about that for a second, and when Diana told him she doesn't have any evidence of the murders, this made Whitman frustrated and had him feeling like he was wasting his time. So he replied, "What are you doing here, Diana?" Then Diana said, "She sent me here to lie to you," which put a smile on Whitman's face. He finally started to let his guard down. Diana then said, "But I have to think about what's best for me," continuing to play into the whole rogue theory while using selective honesty at the same time. This tactic is best implied on the first encounter with someone. If someone believes you are honest at the beginning of your relationship, it takes a lot to convince them otherwise. Once she got his guard down a little bit, she told Whitman about the books, playing on his weakness, the extreme desire to take down Monet. Whitman asked Diana to get the books, but Diana played the rogue position even more and said she wasn't even allowed in the house. This is when Whitman decided he trusted her enough. He will go ahead and break in and get the books himself. Playing on Whitman's own beliefs, she went on to say if she really killed Zeke, she won't hesitate to kill me. Then Diana even went on to tell him about the security cameras because she had his back and wouldn't want him to get caught breaking in. But Whitman, still not all the way convinced, needed just a little more assurance and asked, "It's not that I don't appreciate it, but why are you cooperating, Diana?" But Diana sold it by saying, "I was beginning to believe that I needed to cut ties with my family. Then I realized Monet is the cancer that needs to be cut out, not me." And we know that Whitman broke into the Tejada's house and was killed by Monet. Now that conversation with Whitman was a masterclass on Power Law 12. Getting me to my final example, Diana sets Tariq up to kill Monet. Diana knocked on Tariq's door, just like she did the first time she deceived him, and said, "I got to talk to you. It's about my mom and my dad." Tariq already knew. Monet thought that he was the one who told them that she killed Lorenzo. Diana played into that and said, "Look, Reek, I gotta get out, but she will never let me leave. She's crazy, and honestly, I'm scared." Again, Diana playing the damsel in distress and using honesty to get Tariq to let his guard down. Because once selective honesty opens a hole in the armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. Tariq completely understood and said, "Yeah, I feel you. Can you believe she sent Tommy after my mother?" We already know that was also Diana, but found out her plan didn't work, so Diana asked Tariq, "How is Monet still alive?" She stood up disgusted and said, "What if it didn't start a war? Drew hates her and I want her dead for what she did to my father. It's time for Monet to go." Then she made her final comment to play on Tariq's emotions. "I mean, do you really think you could ever be free while she's still alive?" And we all know that her plan was true. Tariq would kill Monet. The part she didn't let him know about was how she would crash into the front of Tariq's car and Kane would come outside and kill Tariq. But Tasha sprayed up the car first in a drive-by, so this story will be continued. Before I go, keep in mind that the 48 Laws of Power book says that this tactic must be practiced with caution because if caught, it will create the most violent hatred and distrust because it plays on people's emotions. With that being said, be looking for Tariq to be gunning for Diana when he finds out the truth about everything she has done. We also know that Diana has a weakness Tariq can play on. Diana is a busybody, always trying to get into other people's business. Tariq could definitely use this weakness as a way to set a trap, similar to how Tommy used Claudia Flynn to set a trap for the Irishman who came to Chicago to kill him. And there you have it, how to deceive someone like Diana Tejada. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.